child did that. Put him in the aisle.
Diving touchdown, Nebraska.
Does he have enough? Is it long enough?
It's going to be tipped and caught. It's caught. How many tackles can one man break? He's to the 20. He's to the 10. He's on the way.
Totally unbelievable.
It's game day in Lincoln, America, and this is the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show.
Check this out.
The A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show is powered by Mullen Motors, Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits, Bauer Underground, Ben Bleicher with PRG and BHHS Ambassador Real Estate, and Ritchie Brothers.
Come on.
Get up and get loud, Husker fans. The A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show starts now.
All right, good morning. 8:30, 2.5 hours away from kickoff. We are live for the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show live at Tipsy Tina's 8th and Q in the Haymarket. He is Steve Sipple. I am Jake Sorensen. Sip, how we doing?
Good morning, Jake.
Good to have you.
You're dressed warm.
I am. I got a coat on. I got mittens on.
Yeah, you got funny mittens on.
You like my funny socks, too? You know what those are? Those are dolphin socks, my
mittens.
friend.
What they look like?
These are called golf mittens. Look at the camera. These are golf mittens. See, it says Titleist.
It's like you could pull a pan out of the oven with them.
I know. Well, maybe I will. That's good. That's what the intention is today. Hey, and Terrell Farley is always he's already chiding me over here, saying the Dolphins suck. They don't actually. They're 5-3. Terrell, thank you very much. It's chilly. It's about 32 degrees right now here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Should be about 40 by kickoff maybe today.
Yeah,
but it's not too windy. There's no snow. This snow stuff we talked about. No snow. It's clear.
Look at out on the people. See, it's one of those days where people don't know exactly how to dress. So you're bundled up.
I know what I'm wearing.
You're bundled up.
I'm dressed properly.
That fellow over there just has a jean jacket on. One of them just has a sweatshirt on. See that?
Nate's got shorts on.
Short
Our guy
pants.
Nate look at Nate. He's got his shorts on walking across the street.
Yeah.
Crazy man.
It's one of those days where you don't quite know how to approach it. I didn't want to dress like it's a blizzard like you. Now you're dressed like it's a blizzard.
No, I'm not. This is a light winter coat. This is not. Look, it's not even that thick. Look at it. Is that thick to you?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. These mittens are wonderful. I've been here since 7:30, so it was chilly at 7:30. Yeah. Here we are, though.
If you got to pull a pan out of the oven, you got the
I'm ready.
to do it.
I am ready to pull a pan out of the oven. Yeah, I'm good to go. Huskers Gophers just under 2.5 hours away from kickoff here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Again, about a 16-point underdog as of this morning.
Yeah.
Still don't know right now as we stand if Thompson's playing today or not.
Yeah. Warm-ups will be interesting.
They will.
So when those quarterbacks trot out of the tunnel, a lot of people's eyes will be peeled on them. And then we'll see what Then you want to see. Well, you want to see if Casey's suited up, and then you want to see if the ball's coming out of his hand. Okay, he banged his elbow last week against Illinois and lost feeling in his hand. Now he was practicing by midweek. I don't know to what extent he was practicing, and they Mickey Joseph and Mark Whipple said they would decide on Friday. Whipple, interestingly, said, I'll make the decision. Okay, who's running the show?
All right, you're making the decision. I thought Mickey was the head coach.
Yeah, wait
Mark.
a second. Who's the coach here? Who's the head coach? Who's the interim head coach?
I'm really curious how the locker room works with those guys. I mean, they obviously talk high of each other when they're in the press conferences, but is everything smooth in the locker room? Is everything smooth in practice? We have no idea. No. I mean, we can hear things, but we are not there to know for our very selves.
Oh, I mean, I think at halftime last week, it wasn't smooth in the locker room. I mean, I don't mind saying that. I mean, we've reported it at Husker Online. Yeah. It got a little dicey in the locker room at halftime. Now, that's not. I mean, come on, it's tensions run high, Jake. They were down. The first half didn't go well. There's a high stress situation when Casey went down late in the second quarter, right? With 6:31 to go before halftime. That's when Casey went down. So stress. Yeah. Stress like you this morning.
I am. Yeah. Listen, I was stressed. We're good to go now. Everything's smooth. We're operating as we were supposed to. So, the stress before this is good. We're good to go.
Right.
I just remember I go back to last week because I at halftime was driving somewhere and I was listening to the radio, say, okay, what's the report? And I hear Mickey Joseph say very sternly, that Chubb was our quarterback in the second half.
Okay.
Like maybe he was told that. I don't know.
Okay.
At that point, we saw some others to end the first half, but like, we're rolling with Chubb in the second half. Oh, all right. Well, okay. So be it then.
Yeah.
Didn't go well. Again, if Casey does not play today, do we assume a rotation of Logan and Chubb or not?
Well, I don't know what to assume, but Logan and Chubba split reps in practice this week.
Okay.
They made it sound like it was pretty even. So that suggests, yes, there would be a double quarterback situation today if Casey doesn't play. Now, Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com, I mean, he just wrote today in his analysis piece that he writes every Saturday that he just says he doesn't expect Casey to play. So maybe Sean, I haven't talked to Sean. Maybe Sean knows something I don't. But he just states it unequivocally. He doesn't expect Casey to play. I don't know that.
Well, also, if Casey were to play, there's no way he's 100% healthy. We know that if Casey plays today, there is no chance he is close to full health.
Right.
He's banged up. He's got an elbow. He's got a right arm injury going on right now.
Yeah.
He couldn't feel his arm or his wrist during the game in the second half. That's why he didn't play.
Maybe that kind of felt good in a way.
It probably felt good to not get hit.
It felt good not to have feeling. Anyway, no,
yes.
we don't know exactly. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. I don't want to make light of it. I feel bad for Casey. Casey's had to endure. Seriously, Casey's had to endure a lot this season.
He has.
But Jake, I mean, we're talking about it because it is a profound difference from Casey to the backups. We saw it last week, 20 plays. I mean, 34 yards in the second half, 3 first downs. At least one of those was by penalty. They didn't do anything on offense.
No, it was painful. I mean, and let's look at this, big picture here for Nebraska. Again, we still have to figure out who the coach is going to be next year. If it's Mickey, then maybe Mickey's already been resolved as a coach, but we have no idea.
No, I can tell you, I do have an idea. That hasn't happened.
Okay,
I can tell you right now. I can tell you 100%. That there's no decision made.
Okay. Well, then
100%.
A big part that might help Mickey out. I mean, this season right now, it seems unlikely, but the goal still is to somehow scrap to a bowl game. Now, it seems very unlikely. Nebraska's 3-5. If they lose today, it seems like they will not make a bowl game because Michigan is going to be a loss next week. But if you beat Minnesota, maybe you believe you can beat Wisconsin, Iowa. I mean, again, you're big underdogs for a reason. Minnesota's a heavy favorite for a reason. But it can go a long way for your own team's confidence if you pull the upset and then believe, hey, a bowl game's possible. And how awesome would it be in that scenario if you beat Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa in the month of November to make that happen?
Oh, yeah.
Unlikely, but that would be what you're hoping for.
You have to leave open the possibility, and the players are still playing hard. They played hard on defense last week. It didn't go well on offense. We know why.
Right.
But on defense, Jake, that's another story. They played well. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought they played well enough to win on defense.
Yeah, I mean, they did.
Illinois got 369 yards. Okay, that's not, that's good, but not great. They were handed the ball at the 11 on one time and the 20 at one time. Nebraska had how many turnovers? 3 or 4?
I think it was 3.
Okay, 3 turnovers. All right. So, Nebraska, as Nebraska tends to do for the last, several years, a lot of self-inflicted wounds, which, by the way, would be doubly treacherous today because Minnesota doesn't. PJ Fleck's teams pride themselves on not making self-inflicted wounds.
Well, in the games they have lost, they have done so. I mean, I go back to the Illinois game when they lost to Illinois. I mean, Morgan. They did nothing.
Oh, Minnesota.
Minnesota did nothing offensively. Same against Purdue, right?
They scored 10 against Purdue. They scored 14. They scored 4.
One of those games, Tanner Morgan just didn't do anything at all. Then he got hurt after that. But
and there were self-inflicted wounds at Penn State where Minnesota lost that game 45-17, and they jumped off 5 times. Jumped off size 5 times in the whiteout. But generally PJ's teams don't beat themselves, Jake. They don't.
No, and that's why they've won 3 straight games against Nebraska at this point.
Well, they're 4-1.
Yeah, they have beat Nebraska 3 straight times. Nebraska beat them in 2018. That's Scott Frost's first year. They've lost every game since.
Right. Fleck is 4-1 against Nebraska.
Well, that's That's not good for Nebraska. A lot of guys have winning records against Nebraska
of late.
As of late. Give us let us know where you're listening from. 402-464-5685. Watch and comment on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. You can watch the pregame show. We're not in the studio. We're out and about. I see the chair walking by. There's the $5 Bits of Broken Chair trophy here in Lincoln, Nebraska. There it is, right there, making its way around the Haymarket.
Head.
That's right. It was at Muchachos yesterday. We're here at Tipsy-Tina's today for the pregame show. Again, we were just about 2 hours and 20 minutes away from kickoff, Huskers and Gophers. If Nebraska were to pull the upset, what is the biggest reason for that happening today?
They get a lead.
Okay.
They get a lead early. They have to get a lead to win. So, get a lead
early, though.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that.
They get a lead early, and usually, you're always, Jake. You could say to me, "Well, yeah, isn't that always the objective?" It's more important in some games than others. This game, it's important because Minnesota is excellent when they have the lead. PJ Fleck starts bleeding clock basically in the first possession, on Minnesota's first possession. So he wants to slow it down. He wants to he wants to bleed you to death slowly. And that's so if you get up on them, it takes Minnesota out of its comfort zone. They'll be very content to keep it on the ground, run clock. If they get a lead, it'll be tough to overcome it. So I'd say that. And, of course, I could have played the easy and of course, I could have played the easy Mo Ibrahim card, and that's a big part of the discussion, right? Keep him in check. Just hold him to – I'd say keeping him in check is 160 and below. How about that?
Well, and that's what Chase Brown was the same thing last week, 159.
Yeah.
And that was a recipe to win. It's just the offense decided not to show up in the second half of that ball game.
Well, yeah, they didn't decide not to show up.
It was a decision not to show up. We're good. We'll call it quits for now.
Thank you, Mark. The coffee has arrived.
The coffee's arrived. Yeah, we've got caffeine. We've got warm beverages. Everything is good.
Yeah, an Americano for an Americano.
Terrell is here. Rico's here. Mark's here.
Yes.
You're here. I'm here. We'll have Jay Foreman here shortly. Nick's around here somewhere. Tom Stevens, I think, an appearance today. I can't say it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful morning to see. I love these morning games. I really do.
Why would you say it's not a beautiful day?
Because it's cold.
But it's crisp and gorgeous. It's November.
It is nice to see
Jake,
the sun coming up.
It is November.
I know. I don't mind. I don't
be cold.
I don't mind the morning games.
The wind is not a factor.
Not right now.
I would say that this is a gorgeous day.
Well, it'd be more gorgeous if Nebraska won the football game, right?
Yeah.
Defensively for the Huskers, again, we've talked a lot about the offense being, with Casey Thompson likely out, not for sure, but likely out today. Defensively for Nebraska, he said they played well last week. Hold Ibrahim to less than 160 yards. That's a good thing for the Huskers. But how do you get off the field for a team?
Yeah,
okay, we mentioned it all week long. Minnesota against Rutgers had a 19-play, 99-yard drive that took almost 11 minutes off the clock, spanning between two quarters.
You're right.
How do you – this is the nation's number one third down offense,
yes,
right? They are very good at continuing drives. If you're Bill Bush – where do you start?
Come on, you know what it is.
Where do you
First
start?
and second down. The early downs are critical. If Ibrahim's getting 4, then 4 again on first down, 4 again on second down, or 5 or whatever, and they're in third and short all the time, that's trouble. And that's what they are. So the early downs are really important, Jake. You can't – and you know what? You know what it is, and this is concerning. You saw it against Illinois last week, the Illinois offensive line was moving the line of scrimmage. Runs that didn't look all that effective. You'd look up and they got 4 on that play because they moved the line of scrimmage. You can't let if you're thinking, okay, they got Ibrahim in check, but then you're looking up continually and it's 2nd and 6. Trouble.
Yeah.
That's trouble because then it'll be. Then it'll be third. Yeah, then it'll be 3rd and 8, the 3rd and 2,
and then you're bleeding out like everyone else does against Minnesota.
Right. So early downs are critical. You got to hit him. You got to hit him behind the line. Nebraska hasn't had a lot of tackles for losses. You got to get him behind the line at times, and make it and put him in 3rd and long. Right.
Yeah, and you know what really hurts Nebraska for the excuses with the offensive line? Minnesota's running the ball well with 5 new starters on the O-line this year. Completely new offensive line. And said, well, what's the problem with that? We're good.
They got a couple guys in the portal, right?
They did, but still, every person on that line is new from last season.
It's impressive.
It's an
impressive job. It's an impressive job by PJ Fleck. I don't want to overdo it on Minnesota. They're 2-3 in the league. They just broke a 3-game losing streak, but now their schedule is such that you expect them to win 8 or 9. I mean, their schedule lightens up now, and they'll be intent, I would think, to get rolling now. They got rolling against Rutgers last week, Jake, 31-0.
Yep.
Beat Rutgers 31-0, had a pretty easy time of it, and ran the ball well against. I know people don't think of Rutgers this way, but that was the 6th-ranked rushing defense in the country and the 7th-ranked total defense in the country. Rutgers, tough.
Yeah, they pushed the ball 31-zip. Impressive win. I'm seeing some comments on the YouTube stream from Tyler. He says, "Thanks for doing this, boys. Love the pregame. Appreciate Sip explaining why he turned around." He's like, "I will get distracted easily."
Yeah.
You explained that this week on the
Yeah.
And he says, "Sink the darn boat." Also, that's from Tyler on YouTube.
How about Vince?
Capsize the boat for Vince and Napa. For you, Vince, we're going to capsize today. Jason listened in Ames, Iowa. Gavin says, "GBR, love watching you guys every day." Thank you, guys. Appreciate that.
Now, listen, we appreciate you guys just as much.
All right. Well, before that you go, Sip, what is your official prediction for today's game?
I can't remember the exact score I put on HuskerOnline.com, but around 24-13.
Minnesota.
24-13 Minnesota, kind of a nondescript game. I hope Terrell
Farley just booed you.
What is your prediction?
I got Minnesota 27-10.
Similar scores.
Very similar. Yeah, I think they do cover that spread of 16 to make it a 17-point win.
Now, what if Casey Trott's out there as the starter? How's that change your?
I don't think he's healthy. I mean, I'd almost be concerned about it. That's your lack of confidence in your backup quarterbacks. We know that Casey's not healthy. He might be healthy enough to play, but he's not healthy. That's more concerning, saying you went through the whole week of practice, have split reps with Chuba and Logan, and you're still starting. You're banged up, injured quarterback. So that doesn't do anything for me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that makes
fair?
sense. It's what if Casey's healthy and he's out there? It changes. That changes, but I think you're right. He's probably not going to be 100%. And let's face it, probably not going to play.
Yeah.
I am still going to watch warm-ups closely.
All right. We both take the Gophers, unfortunately. Hope we're wrong. That'd be great.
Yeah.
We'll have more next week. We're live at Tipsy Tina's for the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. More next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Vershawn Jackson for Brandt Excavating. Brandt's been in business for 29 years, and they specialize in a variety of things. If you're looking for someone to get the job done in precision demolition, excavating, trucking, mass grading, and site prep, Brandt is the place to call. To set up a quote or learn more, call Brandt Excavating at 402-474-4113 or go to BrandtExcavating.com. They're also hiring, so join the team today. Brandt Excavating, a part of the Bauer brand, who reminds you, go Big Red.
Get an immediate look back at the game from the people who know it best. It's the Tanner's Postgame Show and the Final Word live from Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Hear from former players and national champions like Jay Foreman, Rashawn Jackson, and Aaron Davis and see what they saw in that day's game. It's the Tanner's Postgame Show and the Final Word, live and in person, home or away at Tanner's Bar and Grill, brought to you by Bauer Infrastructure. Only here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Wow. Did you ever save me money on my car?
Yes, that's why our customers keep coming back.
How do you do it, friendly car dealer ?
We simply have low overhead and high trade-in values. The next line's yours.
Oh.
Ready for something better? Mullen Motors is a no-hassle, no-pressure dealership with financing available. Check out the inventory at MikeMullenMotors.com.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Allo means business. Allo means local business. Allo means big business. Allo means small business. No matter your business, if you need reliable phone and internet connectivity, you need Allo. Local service and same-day dispatch. Free installation. Symmetrical upload and download speeds. If your business relies on communication, rely on Allo. Allo means business. Visit allofiber.com/business.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Look at your car. It's filthy and probably has a few dings and nicks all over it. Don't be that guy. Get it upgraded and repaired at Renew Your Auto. At Renew Your Auto, they offer tons of services: ceramic coating, window tinting, paintless dent repair, washes and details, bed liners, body shop, and more. Where can you go to get services like that all in one place? Schedule your appointment today at renewyourauto.com. See what Renew can do for you.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina is the talk of the Haymarket, and for good reason. Grab a breakfast taco on a game day morning or stop by for lunch or dinner for their huge variety of street taco options. They have everything from carne asada or chorizo tacos to shrimp or fish tacos, buffalo chicken, and more. Plus, they have more than 140 different tequilas and tons of other beer or mixed drink options. There's truly something for everyone. Make plans to stop by for any meal of the day at Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina, 8th and Q in the Haymarket.
Reward yourself with Kasasa Free Checking. Liberty First Credit Union invites you to open a free Kasasa checking account and earn up to 3% APY for up to $30,000. Get paid for banking. What are you waiting for? Earning a high reward rate is easy, and Kasasa checking is always free. Liberty First Credit Union offers free online banking and bill pay, free e-statements, free mobile banking, and so much more. See libertyfirstcu.com for details. Federally insured by NCUA. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete.
Bowling, check. Arcade, check. Laser tag, check. Mini golf, check. Sand volleyball, cornhole, bocce, food, drinks, check, 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 check. The newly renovated Sun Valley Lanes and Games has something fun to offer for guests of all ages.
Win prizes in the arcade or challenge your friends in one of the many attractions.
Plan a night of fun by reserving your spot online at sunvalleylanes.com.
Sun Valley.
Back.
That's what you do, keep me.
To the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show, presented by Mullen Motors on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Girl, you feel
Here, Jay Foreman, T. Farley,
What's
A1
up,
Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show brought to you by Mullen Motors. Upgrade your car today with a large variety of used cars to choose from. Mullen Motors, just north of 48th and Layton. Hey, man, you know when it gets cold, Farley, you know them cars be breaking down. They ain't ready for it. So Mullen Motors is a place to be, man.
Yeah, I need to get my heat fixed in my car.
I hear that. So T. Farley, man, on a game day like this, I know how we used to be prepared. But just talk about the mindset of when you're going to be playing against a cold game, a physical team. And did you like those games, or did you not look forward to those games?
Well, really, it didn't really didn't matter, man, because one thing I knew that we was going to be out by halftime or third quarter. So, I could sit down and get me a Coke. So, but, games like this, you really you don't have to bundle up because
Right.
it's not that cold. You know,
Right.
once your motor gets started, you get warm and you run around and you fly and you hit people. So the weather shouldn't be a factor today. Now,
Right.
the only thing we need to do is just tackle and try to play a great game. Offense, we don't know who's the starter yet, so
Right.
we're gonna play it by ear. But games like this, it's actually gonna be a beautiful day.
Right.
Probably
Once
not.
that sun comes out, right?
Yeah, once that sun hits the field, you know,
it warms
it's
up
game
like
time.
it warms up
So,
like 10 degrees, and so as long as you're not sitting in the shade, you know, I think the only thing that you know, the weather never bothered us. It shouldn't bother a player, because you know, I know Mickey had them guys outside all week, so they ready to go. And but I think the one thing which is good for us, and one thing that we need to make sure that we do is ball handling from the snap, quarterback to running back exchange. Their quarterback is once you hit him, he's known to give up the ball. So you know that we be talking about stripping the ball. The running back, if you bring enough heat to him, he's gonna give it up. So the ball gets a little slicker when it's cold like this, and so it could be the advantage for the defense. And so for whether it's Casey, Chubba Purdy, or Logan Smothers, the ball handling technique has to be on point every single time, because that could be, you know, a make or break play in the game.
Yeah, that's the same thing we have to do is we got to control the ball. And I think I seen Grant fumble for the first time. What was that, last week? And, and you know, he kind of got lifted off the ground, but at the same time, as a football player, you got to keep your hands wrapped around the ball tight. And with it being cold like this, you know, your fingers are gonna be numb, and the ball can hit it and just jam your fingers. You know, so anything can go. But you know, mostly we just gotta play ball control, like you said. We gotta make sure we can establish a run game. You know, we've been looking for that run game for the last 3 weeks, and it kind of disappeared from the playbook. But you know, like I said, this is a game right here where the weather's great, and we should be able to run against Minnesota, and we should be able to play great defense against it.
Right. And talk about when you're facing a team that's a heavy run team, their best receivers out for the whole season. So they you know, their whole thing is based on the run game and trying to eat up the clock. Talk about the mindset going into that game, because to me, these games are easy to get up for.
Yeah.
You know what they're gonna do is mano y mano. You know, you gotta be it's testing your manhood, and you know we've been ready for that. But just talk about the mindset, how you slowly but surely start to prepare for that during the week. You know, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you want to hit your peak by Saturday.
Well, it was a good thing last week we played a running team, because it gets you ready for another running team. So you know we're not used to, we're not a run stop defense. We wasn't earlier in the year, but as the season progresses, we get better and better at run defense. So I think this is another great opportunity for the defense to play great ball like they did last week, and just continue and take it play by play. Don't visualize the next play when you got one play in front of your face. So you play that great defense. You know, you take it back last time, and we just stopped Minnesota on the run. You know, Minnesota got a lot of people here today.
Yeah, they do,
and,
man.
You know,
look at him, man. Look, he got Busch Light too. Hey, you ain't from Minnesota. You know, you got the Nebraska water though, so you ain't a true Minnesotan. You know what I'm saying? He got that purple or that gold or maroon that throw up colors on. But he got Busch Light. That's his peace treaty right there. You know when they used to have peace trees, what we learned about in school?
Yeah.
Instead of bringing some food, they can bring Busch Light down here. So he ain't a true Minnesotan because he drinking Busch Light. But man, you know the thing is as far as you know, one thing I want to see, and I think we can do, and we showed a little bit in the first half against Illinois last week, was the ability to run the ball and keep them off balance defensively. And I think if we get out the gates running the ball, keep them off balance, give them some of their own medicine, and talk about how the pressure then goes back on them to try to throw the ball, which they haven't been able to do this year because they're used to playing real comfortable. This is a game where you want them to be uncomfortable from a mentality standpoint and definitely make them uncomfortable from a physicality standpoint.
Well, we got to come out fast. You know, I had a conversation with MJ the other day, and the only thing he said was fast.
Right.
So that means you got to come out fast. You got to play fast.
Right.
We're not that type of team to keep coming back every week.
Right.
From down from 14 zip. We can't afford that.
Right.
And we got to put the chokehold on Minnesota, and we got to do it early in the game.
Right.
And we got to make them be the fighter, not the fightee.
Yeah.
So we're coming in this game as an underdog, but the main thing we got to do is we got to play great defense and just start fast on offense and keep these guys going the whole 4 quarters.
And get off on special teams. I mean, I'm talking about that first kickoff. I want somebody's head split wide open.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hit him. Because you talk about, see, here's the thing. Like when you play special teams, everybody think like, oh, if you started your own play, that gets you a nice little warm up, get your pads ready. You know
that's
what I'm
a lot because we play special teams.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, I was kind of against that, but as the season went on, I seen why Coach had us out there.
Right.
Because for me, I'm running down the field, and then I want to then I have to go on defense. So I want to make the first play on defense.
Right.
But I'm kind of tired because I ran all the way down there. But if you're a great conditioned team, you don't worry about your starters on defense.
Right.
I mean, on kickoff, on punts, on punt returns, on kickoff return.
Right.
So it doesn't matter as long as these kids are conditioned and they're in great spirits. Just let them play the game.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a football play. That's why you want your best football players out there. And special teams is an easy play as far as covering kicks. See ball, hit ball. You ain't got to worry about a whole bunch of checks, motions, communications. You run down there. You're gonna have one or two blocking schemes as far as like what you're gonna see as a coverage unit, and then you go kill the ball, and that's the best thing about it. And you can set the tone.
Yes,
a big special teams hit, a big special teams play is a momentum changer. So I look for us to do that. I also look for us to play really well against the run because for Chase Brown has to tote the ball over 30 times to have some yardage. That's good.
Yeah,
that means you bottle him up, and he's a good player. So is Mohamed Ibrahim that's coming down here. They got Potts. They got good runners. They got a good offensive line. But then, just because they got good players, I think sometimes fans, media people, players can be like, oh, they got good players, but then forget that you good.
Yeah.
Right? You can respect everybody. You know what I'm saying? We respected everybody we played against. We played against the Fred Taylors and all them.
We didn't really respect them. We
respected them.
We gave them a little respect.
We respected them, but we feared nobody.
Yeah,
that's the difference. You feared nobody. And so, you can get them. They good, but we know we better.
Yeah.
And so when we take that mindset, I think it'll be all to the good for us. And I think this is a great opportunity for this team, both individually and collectively and holistically, to make a statement. If you want to put the Big Ten on notice, be one of the big boys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So what we got, we don't know if Casey's going. We don't know who's going to take the first snap. We don't know how the rotation is going to go.
Right.
But we do know we're going to have a quarterback out there.
Right.
Now,
and then expectations ain't going to change.
Yeah, we still want to win.
Right.
But if Casey don't go, would you rather see? Would you rather see Smothers started off or Purdy?
A lot of had to be dependent on practice, but I think in Mark Whipple's offense, obviously, Chuba, he feels Chuba fits his skill set. But I'm gonna say one thing about Logan Smothers though. Here's one thing about him: is his dad is a high school football coach, so he grew up around football. When you watch him play, he knows how to play the position of quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
It don't got to look pretty. He has a command of the huddle. And so if you feel like, hey, Chuba needs to settle down a little bit, sometimes until he gets used to playing all the time, he needs to come off the bench. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that you aren't a starter. You just got to get used to starting.
Yeah.
And there's a different type of mindset where Logan's played before. He's been out here. He's been under pressure. He played last year in a winner-take-all game against Iowa, performed well enough to have us up twice to win the game. And some top clock management stuff got us. But at the end of the day, you can go either way. But the expectations can't change. It's got to be, hey, look, you out there, you had a full week of practice. We're in the 9th week of the season. Being a rookie, that's over. They used to tell us by the 6th game, you ain't a freshman no more. You know what I'm saying? Remember that?
Yeah.
So once you got six games and 6 weeks of practice and all that stuff underneath your belt, you're not a young guy no more. So either guy is going to be expected to play well, and whether Casey plays or plays half the game or they do some sort of rotation. But I also think that the offense in general will be a lot more crisper this week, regardless, because they've been able to prepare. The coaches have kind of been able to prepare regardless of who is going to be in there playing. And so I look for the offense to be a little bit more efficient and crisp, regardless of who's out there.
Well, I think we should. I'm not saying I'm not the coach, but
right.
my prediction is that if Casey can't go,
right.
we go to Smothers. We let him start something off different. We run the option with them. We show Minnesota something that they haven't seen before,
right.
and that gives us a great opportunity to make them fly on the run
right.
and try to get this thing down pat. But I'm looking at Logan Smothers to start if Casey doesn't go.
Yeah. All right, we got good stuff with the real deal black shirts. Me and Jay Foreman, Terrell Farley, but we're going to pause for station ID, legal ID.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
We back, man. Hey, A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. Hey, I'm telling you right now, man, it's nipply out here. It's like Minnesota. I see you guys. You ain't got no hat. You must be from up north. Yeah, I see you. You got them gloves on. You got them coal miner gloves. So, he ain't that tough. You know what I'm saying? I know what them things are. You know what they do with them gloves, T. Farley?
Yeah.
They up there shoveling a bunch of cow manure, man. That's what he's doing. I see him. He probably from up there in the Iron Range. When you see a Minnesota fan without a hat on,
yeah,
that big. You see how big his head was?
Yeah.
That's just where all his heat it is, man. He's from up north. He got that big old Kevin McHale head, man. They look like some big old.
So growing up in Minnesota, Jay, what are your thoughts on the Gophers?
Man, to be honest with you, you got to give PJ Fleck his props. He's the athletic program was having some problems. He came in and brought a different energy to the football program in a different standard, and he's got them up there where they're legit. He's not scared to go recruit. He's developed guys. The one thing that he does, he likes to play to his strengths only.
Yeah,
and when you hear him talk about it, he likes to hide his weaknesses and accentuate his strengths. So he's doing that in all three levels. He's developed players. He's done everything to the what he said he's going to do. I know everybody. He comes in high energy, but he's very detailed. He's a good coach. He expects his coaches to be good, so they're always going to be tough. He knows they got them big old, like that big dude we just seen.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota got some large human beings up there with some big old heads. So he goes and gets them, puts them on the offensive line, and has the standards, and then he expects his running backs, no matter if you're the first or 14th running back, to come in there and produce. And he's done a really good job. So you got to give him a ton of respect. And he's been a thorn in Nebraska's side. And, being from Minnesota, I'm always for Nebraska, but it's good for I have a lot of, friends and family that, Gopher alum. So you're happy for them, but I ain't happy for him this week. I ain't talked to none of my friends, that went to Minnesota.
All right, so it's a chilly day in Lincoln.
Chilly, but we about to warm this party up on them, man. It's our segment here. We about to get off of here, and I don't know who's coming next on the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. But that's our segment.
Give me your prediction.
Farley, I think Nebraska's going to win 24-17.
All right.
24-17.
I predict it's going to be Nebraska 28, Minnesota 14. So, we hope we can get a victory today from these guys, and we hope we can just, row the boat on out of town.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We're
with PJ Flick in the middle, sleep.
Yeah, right. Sink they boat, man.
Yeah, so
that's T. Farley, Jay Foreman. We call that the black shirt linebacker edition here.
Oh, yeah, the original black shirts.
The
we the 1995 black shirts, and we played together, and it was nice playing with you. And I was happy to steal some touchdowns from you.
I know, man. And, black leprechaun over here. Your name is Terrell O. Farley. You know what I'm saying? Terrell O. Farley over there. He get all the. So there goes some Minnesota fans.
Minnesota got a lot of people here today.
Yeah, exactly. We smelt you guys all the way a block away, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Where's your Bush Light?
All right, we're out of here, man. We're going to have to take a pause for the cause, and the next group will be up.
All righty.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beers, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
If you need to sell equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers' new Lincoln Satellite Yard lets you free up space at your property and get local access to all Ritchie Brothers auctions. Drop your equipment off and sell it online at any Ritchie Brothers auction, Iron Planet, or via Marketplace E. The yard is at 8801 US 6 Lincoln. It's secure and makes for easy in-person buyer inspections and pickup. Take advantage of this yard to sell at Ritchie Brothers Great Plains Regional Auction, September 15th and 16th. For details, visit rbauction.com/Lincoln.
Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina is the talk of the Haymarket, and for good reason. Grab a breakfast taco on a game day morning or stop by for lunch or dinner for their huge variety of street taco options. They have everything from carne asada or chorizo tacos to shrimp or fish tacos, buffalo chicken, and more. Plus, they have more than 140 different tequilas and tons of other beer or mixed drink options. There's truly something for everyone. Make plans to stop by for any meal of the day at Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina, 8th and Q in the Haymarket.
M Suits Clothiers, your Lincoln choice for men's clothing 5 years running. Guys, are you working from home these days and find yourself wearing the same sweatpants you've had since college? Visit M Suits Clothiers and check out our bamboo athletic wear by Task. Task Active Wear is comfortable, moisture wicking, breathable, 4-way stretch with anti-odor. You'll want to live in it, and it's nice enough that you can wear it outside of the house too. M Suits Clothiers, located at 5525 Red Rock Lane, 1 block south of 56th and Pine Lake Road.
They might win, they might lose, but either way, you have something to say about it. Don't miss the Husker After Party postgame show immediately following every Nebraska football game. Nick Sainert and Jake Bachhoven give instant reaction, quotes from the players and coaches, and take all your phone calls with thoughts on the game. It's the Husker After Party postgame show, only on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Sponsored by Action Plumbing and Heating, Gary Michaels Clothiers, and Brandt Excavating. Look at your car. It's filthy and probably has a few dings and nicks all over it. Don't be that guy. Get it upgraded and repaired at Renew Your Auto. At Renew Your Auto, they offer tons of services: ceramic coating, window tinting, paintless dent repair, washes and details, bed liners, body shop, and more. Where can you go to get services like that all in one place? Schedule your appointment today at renewyourauto.com. See what Renew can do for you.
Sunday morning. It's quiet. Not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Hey, who caught that ball? That field goal was good, right? Is the scoreboard fuzzy to anyone else?
Dude, you have got to get your eyes checked, man.
If you're noticing that the game is getting a little tougher to follow, it might be time for a checkup at Premier Vision. They have state-of-the-art equipment, a variety of frames, and great lens options. Visit Premier Vision today, just south of Van Dorn at 84th and Firethorn.
Back.
On 3, 1, 2, 3.
To the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show, brought to you by Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Here we are, live at Tipsy Tina's 8th Q in the Haymarket. The guys enjoying some breakfast tacos at Tipsy Tina's. If you haven't had them, they are out of this world. Fantastic. This segment brought to you by Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits worldwide selection. Local expertise, more than 3,000 wines, 2,000 spirits, 1,500 beers and seltzers. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits next to Hy-Vee on North 27th. The captain is here. Sean.
Hey, buddy. I'm good.
3-time national champion. Do you say that every chance you get? I mean, 3 times. Have you seen the ring? I mean,
no, it doesn't.
Get the ring?
It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. I'm 3-time.
It does matter
anymore.
because
listen, in this day on Saturday, 3-time national champ, nothing matters but Nebraska football winning this game.
Let's go.
What can I do to offer anything? No, I just can run my mouth. Those guys got to go play. The coaches got to go coach, and we got to find a way to win the game. We got to find a way to put the run down and go.
This game reminds me a little bit, and you were at this game, Nebraska in Manhattan. They're down a couple of quarterbacks. No T. Frage, obviously, hadn't been available. Brooke Barringer, the collapse along, and you bring in a little guy named Matt Turman. It's not the same scenario. Chuba Purdy is a good Chuba Purdy is going to be a good quarterback, I think, but he's not ready, I don't think, for prime time. So maybe you do you think what's your feeling about the quarterback situation today, Vershawn? Is it going to be Casey?
I would imagine that the heart that Casey has, that he would, if he can go, Casey's going to be the starter and he's going to go. That's just, quarterbacks are a little quirky like that. They're a little crazy. He knows he's only got 3 games left in this season. And if he can find a way to get through, I think Casey Thompson comes out as a quarterback. And I believe he can will us a win. You know, if we have to go at one of the backups, again, depending on the menu, there's a menu for Purdy, there's a menu for Smothers. They give you 2 different mindsets when you talk about quarterback in this football team. Of course, Smothers is going to be more run, Purdy's more pass. And Purdy can run the ball too, by the way.
I mean, maybe there's a package for all 3 of them. If you maybe get a little spark from Casey and he re-injures something, or you just don't feel good about how he's moving around out there, maybe there's a package for Logan Smothers. I mean, you would think that you could run a little option. They didn't try it a lot last week against Illinois. He got 8 yards of the first carry, only threw for 1 yard. We know that Purdy threw for 15 yards. He was 3 of 8 last week. It feels like if Casey doesn't play, these other 2 are going to just have to find a way to play a lot better than they did last week.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can't throw turnovers in the I don't know if you would call it the bronze zones, but you can't throw at 25-yard line or less. You can't do that. You can't. That's called a momentum killer. You know, you're on your way. You got a big turnover that was a fluke. You got to find a way to put 7 up on the board, and at the very least, come away with 3.
We talk a lot about the style of play and the lack of identity for Nebraska football. I look at the Big Ten West and think, man, Nebraska is nothing like Minnesota. Iowa's not good offensively, but certainly Wisconsin has had an identity for years and years. We've said this before. Barry Alvarez took a lot of good things about Lincoln, Nebraska, and moved him to Madison. I think Minnesota has done that to a certain extent. If Nebraska's in 5 years looks like Minnesota physically and plays like Minnesota does physically, would you be okay with that?
If we only got to what Minnesota is doing currently?
Yeah, I want to go beyond that, but you need to get to where they are before you can get to where they are.
Well, I think if you get the right recruits with the right coaches, you mix them in with the right coaches, you will see development, and we should be catching Minnesota in the next 2 years. If you build this thing the right way, if you build it from the foundation up, which I think Mickey and the guys are doing, but you know, when whoever's the next coach, he's got to come in, he's got to have his people there who he trusts, who he can lean on, who he knows are going to be in the spot that he wants them in. They're going to do what he wants them to do because he is the captain of that ship. And until you get that in there and you mix that with some great recruits, okay, not just good recruits, great recruits, and you develop the guys you got. I think we've got, 3, 4, 5 freshmen that's contributing right now. You know, those are the guys that in 4 years and 3 years are going to get you to the Minnesota, because Minnesota, again, stacked with 5th-year players, 6-year players, guys that's been around for 3 years. That means something when you talk about the grand scheme of football. Guys getting older. The older you get, the wiser you're supposed to become.
Yeah, I mean, Nebraska, you were back. You remember the pipeline days. You didn't worry about offensive linemen moving on because there was always a guy that had been redshirted that you saw every day on the practice squad that was ready to move in, and he was probably already either a third-year sophomore or a junior and ready to play at a pretty high level. Nebraska hasn't had that. Some of it because of COVID, some of it because of the transfer portal, some of it just because of the lack of continuity in the program. But Nebraska needs to get back to development. It's one of the things that Trev Alberts has said that he would like to see from this program. And Minnesota has done a pretty good job of that under PJ Fleck, developing guys. So I asked you that question. Maybe it's not Minnesota. Look around the Big Ten. What do you want the identity Captain, for Nebraska to be? Is there a team that you say that's what we need to be in the Big Ten?
Michigan.
I like that.
Michigan.
I like that.
You know, I think that's the goal. Ohio State is the goal. It's not, you can't look at anything below Michigan or Ohio State because, listen, they will probably be playing each other in the Big Ten championship game.
But Ohio State, it's more of a team I look at and think that, well, they've just gathered a bunch of 5-stars and they've got CJ Stroud. They can throw it around. They've got 5-stars everywhere you look. I like the identity of Michigan, a run-first offense with the ability to throw the football. But right. I would love for the identity of Nebraska football to at least get to, Michigan again. I mean, at least they're the, a top 5 team in the country. And Nebraska is not close to that. But Michigan, I think, would be a good target for Nebraska.
I think we also have to, we got to always, I don't care who the coach is, okay? We have got to always pay homage to Coach Osborne. And you know how you do that more than anything, Tom?
You use him. He's a mentor. Use the guy.
Right. But you use the thing that he perfected, the option. It has to be a part of the game, whether that's a quick sprint option where the quarterback is getting it out of his hands quick and it's a planned pitch because of the way you block it. But I think that element of surprise is what made us great. We didn't run option every play at Nebraska. When I played, we went conventional. We were in shotgun. We were in spread. We were in the ace set. We were in pro style. We were in I formation. See, we were a run team, but if you go look at the books, I bet it was probably closer to 58-42.
Yeah.
Even when Scott was there.
Yep. I mean, today, if Logan plays, I would assume there would be a little option mixed in. Even if Chuba plays today, and I think he would be the logical choice to start. I mean, most people think that's where they're going. Use his legs. The guy can run. Mix in a little option. He wasn't effective throwing the football. We remember the pass across his body when Nebraska's in scoring position after a quick change where they get the turnover. That changed the game. He can't afford, no matter who the quarterback is today, they can't afford to do stuff like that. Nebraska has to hang on to the ball and maybe play a little Minnesota football. I mean, you've heard that said from the head coach, Mickey Joseph, the A1 ticket automotive, the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Show here at 8th and Q for Sean Jackson, the captain, along with me. But if Nebraska is going to win this game, they're going to have to run it at least a little. Or maybe they don't get to 200, but you've got to at least show that you can run the football. The Nebraska of the 90s is not coming back today, but what would be a good target for Nebraska in the run game?
30. You got to at least go 30 with your running backs. 30 with the running backs. I don't care how it goes.
You're talking about attempts.
30 attempts with the running back. So I'm not even – whatever the quarterback does, that's extra and good. But 30 attempts with the running back shows that I'm trying to run the ball because we know in the last few games we've only had 50-something plus plays. So if you did that, if you ran 30, looking at the numbers, that might be over half of the plays if we're following the current trends. But I would like to see us at least be 50-50 bottom line.
Yeah, Nebraska has struggled, I think, to run the football since early in the season. You've seen Anthony Grant was effective early, and, of course, A.J. Allen looked really good, and then he got injured. Ramir Johnson has been the disappearing man. He had the one attempt to him. It would have been a 30-yard completion. Maybe helps you get at least a little farther into that game against Illinois. But so Anthony Grant is probably going to get the bulk of those 30 carries today, right?
I would sure hope so. And like I said, a running back has to get into the swing of the game. He has to heat up. He has to get hit a few times. He has to start to understand which way the defenders are trying to attack him. Who's the guy that's going to go smack somebody hard? Who's the guy that's waiting on something? Once he figures that out, then he can just be a running back. But it's going to take 10 carries to maybe figure it out. And in that 10, if you get 2 big ones, hey, he's sitting at 70 yards, and we still got 20 carries to go.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if Mark Whipple has the patience to do that. Nebraska hasn't been able to get a ground game going at a high level since earlier in the season. They did a little bit against Indiana, ran the ball effectively, but they certainly, if you point to a problem area for this team, it's the offensive line. The offensive line has struggled with injuries. Teddy Prohaska goes down. You've had to move guys around with Turner Corcoran moving inside originally, then back to the left tackle position. We know that Bryce Benhart has struggled. I think Trent Hickson has played well at times, but this offensive line is certainly not going to remind anyone of the better offensive lines of the 90s, let alone any other era. This offensive line, to say that they could churn out even 100 yards seems to me a little wishful thinking today. But you think that that's where they need to lean?
Yeah, listen, you got to make an effort to run. If he ran for 23 yards early in the first quarter, I bet if you go back, he had at least 8 carries in the first half, and we only came back and maybe ran it with him 4 times. One of which he put the ball on the ground because he cut it back by trying to make a play and then got up in the air instead of keeping his feet on the ground. So I just think if we make more of an effort to try to run the ball, run some counter traps. I think you have to run. What happened to, we had 1 carry, 61 yards, a touchdown for our best offensive weapon. Have he got it back in that situation since then?
Well, you're talking about Trey Palmer, our best offensive weapon.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's a guy that Mickey Joseph talked about last week. Teams are now they now have video on this guy. I don't think they're going to allow him to run for what is it, 247, whatever it was against Purdue, 297 total yardage. I mean, teams are going to get physical with him. They've in fact, Illinois did that. They roughed him up a little bit, and I think it frustrated Trey Palmer a little bit. He had 1 yard receiving, but you got to get him going. But I don't see a lot of opportunity to get him going unless you, as you mentioned, you get the running game going. You have some balance offensively. The one thing that I did like is they went to your position, Vershawn. They went to the tight end. Vokalek had a big play for a touchdown. Chancellor Brewington, that well-conceived screen pass for something like 48 yards, whatever it was. Those were nice plays. Get the tight ends involved today.
Yeah, you got to get them involved, not necessarily down the field, but get the ball into their hands, because what we saw was 2 guys from the tight end position catch the ball and actually do something big after the catch. And so I think you got to get Chancellor at least 3 attempts to get him the ball. I would like to see the screen again. We saw it one time. We never saw it again. I love that play. I think you run that 2 to 3 times a game. In certain situations, it will be big plays every single time. Vokalek, you got to get him more involved inside the tackles, where maybe he's acting like he's going to block, and then he pops out, you know what I mean, off of a play fake. Or this time, looks like he's going to go out, and he blocks down on that end and goes to the linebackers. There's so many things that you can do to block the edge. If we hit that edge, we have to attack the edge. And I think they've got a pretty good defensive end out there. But again, you got to attack angles and edges in football, and it works to get you down the field.
The A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show, live from Tipsy Tina's 8th the Q in the Haymarket, Nebraska, Minnesota today. What's your call today? What's the score?
I haven't called since I said we were going to go 10-2. I drank the Kool-Aid, Tom. And it was wishful thinking. I didn't want to go bad on my team. You know what I mean? My first time back on the radio, he's so negative, Nandy. So I didn't want to do that. It played out the way it played out. I don't give it predictions on Nebraska anymore. Here's what I say. I want to see us come out and go 150 miles an hour for 4 quarters, know what we're doing, get the right play call in, get it in on time, limit the penalties. Get 2 or 3 big plays. maybe get a big play in special teams. Fight, and get 11 guys around the football every time they snap the football. O'Shawn Mathis, Nelson, who's done a great job, Caleb Tanner, those two guys got to get into the sack party. Yeah. They've got to get in the sack party. And so I think if we do that and we hit them in the mouth and run, I just want to see us play hard.
Yeah, it'd be nice. I mean, O'Shawn Mathis, I think he's a talented kid, but he and Garrett Nelson, I have to show up today. I think it's going to be difficult with Tanner Morgan, being there 18 years or whatever it has been at Minnesota. My prediction is Nebraska will still be in the game in the third quarter. I hope everybody has not left at halftime to the Champions Club and they're all drinking beer, watching other Big Ten games. I want it to be close. Nebraska needs to give the fans some hope going into the third quarter. And if they can stay close to the third and mid-fourth, maybe you got a chance to pull this thing out. I think Minnesota wins at 24-14, but I think there's a chance if Nebraska stays close at halftime, maybe gets a couple of big turnovers. I think they're going to need that as well. Vershawn Jackson, the captain.
Yes, sir.
We got to move on. There's other guys.
I know. Big lineup. Hold on, Tom. Give me your best go. You're there. Give me your best go, Big Red. Let's see what we got.
All right. Come on. Here we go. Go Big Red. It wasn't me, Vershawn. It was only guys walking by at that time.
It's early.
It's early.
What about
the crowd? There does seem to be a sparseness to the crowd at this point. But I'd say everybody that is downtown is at Tipsy Tina's. Where else should they be? At 8th and Q in the Haymarket. These tacos are fantastic. The breakfast. Have you tried the breakfast tacos, Vershawn? They're great.
Absolutely.
They're absolutely amazing. We got to move on. The A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show live from Tipsy Tina's. More on the way on the ticket.
Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina is the talk of the Haymarket, and for good reason. Grab a breakfast taco on a game day morning or stop by for lunch or dinner for their huge variety of street taco options. They have everything from carne asada or chorizo tacos to shrimp or fish tacos, buffalo chicken, and more. Plus, they have more than 140 different tequilas and tons of other beer or mixed drink options. There's truly something for everyone. Make plans to stop by for any meal of the day at Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina, 8th and Q in the Haymarket.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Wow. Did you ever save me money on my car?
Yes, that's why our customers keep coming back.
How do you do it, friendly car dealer ?
We simply have low overhead and high trade-in values. The next line's yours.
Oh.
Ready for something better? Mullen Motors is a no-hassle, no-pressure dealership with financing available. Check out the inventory at MikeMullenMotors.com.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
They might win, they might lose, but either way, you have something to say about it. Don't miss the Husker After Party postgame show immediately following every Nebraska football game. Nick Sainert and Jake Bachhoven give instant reaction, quotes from the players and coaches, and take all your phone calls with thoughts on the game. It's the Husker After Party postgame show, only on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Sponsored by Action Plumbing and Heating, Gary Michaels Quilliers, and Brandt Excavate.
If you need to sell equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers' new Lincoln Satellite Yard lets you free up space at your property and get local access to all Ritchie Brothers auctions. Drop your equipment off and sell it online at any Ritchie Brothers auction, Iron Planet, or via Marketplace E. The yard is at 8801 US 6 Lincoln. It's secure and makes for easy in-person buyer inspections and pickup. Take advantage of this yard to sell at Ritchie Brothers Great Plains Regional Auction, September 15th and 16th. For details, visit rbauction.com/Lincoln.
Vershawn Jackson for Brandt Excavate. Brandt's been in business for 29 years, and they specialize in a variety of things. If you're looking for someone to get the job done in precision demolition, excavating, trucking, mass grading, and site prep, Brant is the place to call. To set up a quote or learn more, call Brant Excavating at 402-474-4113 or go to BrantExcavating.com. They're also hiring, so join the team today. Brant Excavating, a part of the Bauer brand, who reminds you, go Big Brand.
Look at your car. It's filthy and probably has a few dings and nicks all over it. Don't be that guy. Get it upgraded and repaired at Renew Your Auto. At Renew Your Auto, they offer tons of services: ceramic coating, window tinting, paintless dent repair, washes and details, bed liners, body shop, and more. Where can you go to get services like that all in one place? Schedule your appointment today at renewyourauto.com. See what Renew can do for you.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Get an immediate look back at the game from the people who know it best. It's the Tanner's postgame show and the final word live from Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Hear from former players and national champions like Jay Foreman, Rashawn Jackson, and Aaron Davis and see what they saw in that day's game. It's the Tanner's postgame show and the final word. Live and in person, home or away at Tanner's Bar and Grill, brought to you by Bauer Infrastructure. Only here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete.
Bowling, check. Arcade, check. Laser tag, check. Mini golf, check. Sand volleyball, cornhole, bocce, food, drinks, check, 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 check. The newly renovated Sun Valley Lanes and Games has something fun to offer for guests of all ages.
Win prizes in the arcade or challenge your friends in one of the many attractions.
Plan a night of fun by reserving your spot online at sunvalleylanes.com.
Sun Valley.
Back
Do this win and win.
to the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show, presented by Bauer Underground on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show, live from Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina here at 8th and Q in the Haymarket. Make sure you come on down. You might not want to sit outside because it is a little
You can
chilly.
sit outside. Come join us. We got some people sitting outside over there.
You can. You almost
I know. I'm sorry.
You can sit outside. However, I would recommend probably sitting inside just to stay warm. The drinks flow a little easier.
If the players have
when
to
you're
play in
there.
it, you got to sit in it. If
Maybe.
you're planning on going to the game, you got to sit in it anyway. Speaking of going to the game, we got some tickets to give away if somebody wants any.
We do. We were gonna.
So if you
we gotta wait
or
till
a
people
friend,
get by.
if you or a friend knows, just two people that want to go to the game, we got 2 tickets. If anybody out here ain't got 2 tickets, we got 2 tickets to give away.
2 tickets.
All
for
you gotta
free.
do is
you don't have
come
to do
over.
anything.
All you gotta do is come over here, give us your best Go Big Red, and you get yourself 2 tickets.
There it is.
That's
Simple
all
as
it
that.
is.
Simple
Super
as that.
simple. Tell your friends.
This segment is sponsored by Bauer Underground. Bauer Underground is looking for great candidates like you. Work with a talented and dedicated team that supports local contractors and utility companies across Nebraska. Apply today at BauerUnderground.com. Nick Sainert, Enrique Alvarez Clary, also known as Rico, hanging out with you guys. We will be here for about 15 minutes. All right, so there is a little bit of breaking news. Nebraska will be without Casey Thompson today. Chubba Purdy and Logan Smothers will be the quarterbacks responsible for hopefully captaining the ship and taking Nebraska to a victory. But here's the thing, Rico. Last week against Illinois, when Chubba Purdy came in, the offense didn't look too smooth. And so how do you expect this to play out? Do we see both Logan Smothers or Chubba Purdy, I should say, or do we see mainly just one guy?
In my mind, it would be a lot easier to run with both of them. Hey, it would be really good to run with both of them just to throw a little change up. I mean, again, I'm not saying that last week is what Chubba Purdy has to offer for this Nebraska team.
That's right.
As Mark Whipple told us, whether you like it or not, he didn't really practice all that much the week leading up to Illinois.
Yep.
So he wasn't fully prepared for that game. Yes, mental reps. Yes, he's been practicing all season. But leading up to that game, he wasn't getting in the reps. He wasn't really all the way ready. So this week, if he's been healthy, if he's been practicing all week, I expect to see more Chubba Purdy than Logan Smothers. But I am planning on hearing Logan Smothers' name called multiple times, just getting into the game, getting something going, maybe offering a spark coming off of the bench and running a couple plays for Nebraska. And you know what? Heck, they might even throw a curveball because you throw Logan Smothers in there. Minnesota's looking at that and thinking, oh, obviously he's going to run the ball, maybe run a little fake quarterback, something, a little RPO, toss it down the field.
We'll see what happens. Not that it necessarily matters for any other reason, it's for fun. But the betting line has dropped from 16.5 this morning to 14.5. And that's a massive, massive shift. If you want to talk about point spreads in the span of just 10 hours, or
you know what that means,
in the span of 3 or 4 hours. So I don't know. There must be some money coming in on Nebraska. Once again, if you guys just joining us, we're 8th and Q in the Haymarket. Casey Thompson is not warming up today with the Huskers, so he is out for the game against the Golden Gophers today, which means it's Chubba Purdy and Logan Smothers going on. What's up, Jay?
What's up, fellas?
Oh, nothing.
You,
just talking about Chubba and Logan. We don't know who's starting, but it's Chubba.
Casey's out.
Casey's not warming up.
Because he's not warming up.
We got pictures. He's in the street clothes.
Street clothes.
He's not warming up.
Watch what happens.
Okay. Jay Foreman says, watch what
Jay
happens.
Foreman says, watch what happens.
Heinrich Harburg and Matt Masker also out tossing the pigskin on the field. I know that doesn't really mean anything, but, makes me happy.
We'll see. I would be surprised, Rico, if
you see either one of them.
No, if we see Casey Thompson.
Yeah, I would be surprised because you got to think about it. He's not healthy regardless. Like he's not 100%.
That's the thing. But you see, and that's the argument is
you guys want tickets?
You guys need two tickets.
We got 2 tickets. We got 2 tickets.
You 2 tickets for free. All right, sounds good.
Tell your friends.
Anyway, so here's the deal. When that's the problem that I have with people saying if Casey Thompson plays today, he's not going to be 100%. When's the last week that we can say with certainty that he was 100%? I mean, this
week
is
0.
This is a guy. This is a guy in Casey Thompson that's been playing banged up the entire season, unfortunately. And we're sitting here going like it's extremely frustrating when you look at Nebraska's kind of offense as a whole and say that their inability to protect the quarterback has been a big fault of theirs the entire season so far.
Yep.
So that 100% discussion with 100% health with Casey Thompson specifically, that kind of goes mute for me because whether he would have injured his elbow last week or not, he is not 100%, and he probably will not be 100% for the rest of the season.
I get that, but there's a difference between, as Jay and DP and everybody else has told us, there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. And before in all of those games, he was just hurt. He's banged up, he's sore here and there, but that just happens throughout a season in football. Nobody's truly 100%. But with this injury, this one that knocked him out of a game, it's a nerve injury where there's really nothing you can do to actually, fight that. You just kind of got to let it go its course and get better on its own. And he's been going through the week and practicing a little more. But as the week goes on, maybe you realize, if we do get him in the game, he can't really throw the ball, can't throw the deep ball as well as he wants to. If he does get hit, which, the quarterback's probably more than likely going to get hit, as you mentioned, the offensive line deficiencies, that's going to be even worse going into next week where you have to go to the big house.
Yeah.
Now, would you rather have Casey Thompson at Michigan or would you rather have Casey Thompson against Minnesota?
Well, I think, Rico, and that may be a conversation to have because it's not like I'm saying that I'd rather have Casey Thompson hurt against Michigan than I would against Minnesota, but instead, we look at these games that Nebraska has a realistic shot of winning. If you want to talk about a path to 6 wins, the path does not go through Ann Arbor.
No,
the path goes through Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. And I would not be surprised if we're sitting there ahead of the game in Iowa City with Nebraska at a 5-6 record, needing to win for a bowl game. But first, that they need to figure out what they want to do. In order for that to happen, they need to figure out what they want to do on offense today. That cannot be going out there running some plays, not getting Chubba Purdy in a rhythm like they did last week. They struggled to get Chubba Purdy into a rhythm last week against the Fighting Illini. That cannot happen today. That cannot happen. It's the same mentality going into against Minnesota as it is now, or it was going against Illinois. You know what they want to do. And to beat them, you have to put them off schedule. You have to get them behind the chains. We saw it last night in the high school game, Rico. Gretna was able to get Bellevue West in 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 14, and that explosive offense that always goes for it on 4th down. When they aren't able to get 6-7 yards on 3rd down, they aren't able to go for it because the analytics tell you not to. So same thing applies here in college football today for Nebraska and Minnesota. You got to get the Golden Gophers, a team that wants to run the ball with their monster of a man, as Mickey Joseph called him, in Mohamed Ibrahim.
Tree trunks for legs.
You got to get Minnesota behind the chains. Make it into – you cannot have a Purdue instance where you have the initial tackler makes contact 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage but misses the tackle. Then the second guy comes in, misses the tackle 4 yards past the line of scrimmage, and he all of a sudden breaks an 8-yard gain on 1st down.
If you've got a shot at him, you got to
bring him down. Same thing as Chase Brown. Mohamed Ibrahim, obviously not the same statistics as Chase Brown, but for threat level and for how Minnesota wants to use him, similar thing for as Chase Brown is.
I mean, I'm more scared of Mohamed Ibrahim than I am of Chase Brown, although Chase Brown is leading the country in rushing yards. I just think Mohamed Ibrahim just has that it factor for a running back in the Big Ten. So this is a guy that you have to keep, like you just said, you have to keep him off schedule. You got to hit him. If you're hitting him, you got to hit him hard. I'm not saying to hurt anybody. I'm never going to wish injury on anybody, but you got to hit him hard. You got to make him rethink, going up the middle on these runs. And I understand that, in the Big Ten, that's all they do. Everybody's hitting everybody hard, but you gotta come with the thud and knock him on his butt. Wrap up. Do not let the first tackler miss. Gang tackle. Everybody get to the ball. And, if you can do that, first person gets him, hold him up. Next person in there, try and get the ball out. Rip the ball. Try and force a fumble.
Well, think about this, Rico. I mean, in the Big Ten West specifically, if you're Nebraska or any team, even if we were covering Minnesota or Wisconsin, if we were any program in the Big Ten West going into every single game, what's our thought process? Going into Saturday for me today, it's okay. Listen, if Tanner Morgan beats us with a Heisman-like performance, so be it.
I guess
make him do it.
Yeah.
Don't allow Mohamed Ibrahim to run for 175 yards on you and 3 touchdowns. He's rushed for 6 touchdowns in his entire career on Nebraska. That's got to be you got to keep him under his average. Nebraska, obviously, their last win against Minnesota came back in 2018. It was Scott Frost's first win here at Memorial Stadium as the head coach of Nebraska. Nebraska would then go on a 2-game winning streak as they then would beat Bethune-Cookman the following week. But this was a game in 2018 where they put up 52 points. I don't think you need 52 points to win this game today. Nebraska, if there's a way that they can start to control the game clock, and they might have to, we are going to see once again, Mark Whipple is going to be tested.
Yep.
And Mark Whipple, if you are listening, we are Tipsy Tina's 8th and Q in the Haymarket. You cannot be stubborn. You cannot be unwilling to change your game plan.
Also, Mark Whipple, why are you listening?
Mark. Go prepare. But no,
get ready.
You have to be willing to adjust your offense, whether that's going into the game or on the fly. You have to be. If Anthony Grant is averaging 5.1 yards per carry again, you better keep giving him the ball, because you have backup quarterbacks that are inexperienced at best right now, and you need all the help you can get. You need to find a way to sustain drives and keep your offense on the field, just so that your defense doesn't have to be on the field for 42 minutes like they did against Purdue.
Now, I have a question for you. So you've got Chubba Purdy, you've got Logan Smothers. They can throw the rock. They can't throw it as well as Casey Thompson, but both of them are mobile.
Yeah.
Pretty mobile. Logan more mobile than Chubba in my eyes.
Well, and to be fair, we don't know what Chubba's injury, what he was banged up with.
That is true.
So that's interesting.
But I still think Logan's more mobile than Chubba.
I do too.
Okay, so in this instance where you have those two quarterbacks, then after that you've got Matt Masker, Heinrich Harburg, do you want to put the ball in your quarterback's hand running the ball, more often than not? I know you're with the Mark Whipple offense, he's going to want to pass the ball, but people want him to adjust his offense to use the strengths of his quarterbacks. Well, the strength of one of your quarterbacks is running the ball. But in this instance where you only have these two, do you want to put them under the possibility of running the ball and maybe getting injured?
That's true. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I will also add, as we wrap up this segment, Strick is going to join us next here on the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Football doesn't change. Jay Foreman talks about it all the time. Football does not change. And here's the deal.
when it's cold, when it's colder out, and the air is thinner or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist. when it's colder out, that football, that pigskin gets a little slicker. So if Nebraska can maybe force a couple turnovers, start possession on the plus side of the field, not only does that help your offense out, it also allows Chuba and Logan Smothers to kind of get a little more comfortable. If they're able to start on the Gophers' 35 or 40-yard line, that's way better than starting at your own 15 or own 10-yard line. There's got to be a way as the defense here for Nebraska Huskers defense, you got to figure out a way to create a couple turnovers. And when I say create, punch out that football every single time, because today when it's colder, that football is going to get a little more slick, and it might slip out of some guys' forearms. All right, Rico, last thing before we let you go, I'm not going to give my prediction quite yet. I'm not going to. I think I have another segment coming up later. Okay, well, then you can't give your prediction. I'm not going to give it yet. I'm coming back.
So once again, this segment is sponsored by Bauer Underground. Bauer Underground is looking for great candidates like you. Work with a talented and dedicated team that supports local contractors and utility companies across Nebraska. Apply today at Bauer Underground. Enrique Alvarez, Claire, Rico, and Nick Sainert hanging out with you guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. The Husker Hall of Famer Eric Strickland will join me when we come back right here from Tipsy Tina's 8 the Q in the Haymarket on 93.7 The Ticket.
If you need to sell equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers' new Lincoln Satellite Yard lets you free up space at your property and get local access to all Ritchie Brothers auctions. Drop your equipment off and sell it online at any Ritchie Brothers auction, Iron Planet, or via Marketplace E. The yard is at 8801 US 6 Lincoln. It's secure and makes for easy in-person buyer inspections and pickup. Take advantage of this yard to sell at Ritchie Brothers' Great Plains Regional Auction, September 15th and 16th. For details, visit rbauction.com/Lincoln.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Sunday morning. It's quiet, not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Vershawn Jackson for Brandt Excavating. Brandt's been in business for 29 years, and they specialize in a variety of things. If you're looking for someone to get the job done in precision demolition, excavating, trucking, mass grading, and site prep, Brandt is the place to call. To set up a quote or learn more, call Brandt Excavating at 402-474-4113 or go to BrandtExcavating.com. They're also hiring, so join the team today. Brandt Excavating, a part of the Bauer brand, who reminds you, go Big Red!
Get an immediate look back at the game from the people who know it best. It's the Tanner's post-game show and the final word live from Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Hear from former players and national champions like Jay Foreman, Rashawn Jackson, and Aaron Davis and see what they saw in that day's game. It's the Tanner's post-game show and the final word. Live and in person, home or away at Tanner's Bar and Grill, brought to you by Bauer Infrastructure. Only here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
They might win, they might lose, but either way, you have something to say about it. Don't miss the Husker After Party postgame show immediately following every Nebraska football game. Nick Sainert and Jake Bachhoven give instant reaction, quotes from the players and coaches, and take all your phone calls with thoughts on the game. It's the Husker After Party postgame show, only on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Sponsored by Action Plumbing and Heating, Gary Michaels Quilliers, and Brandt Excavating.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Wow. Did you ever save me money on my car?
Yes, that's why our customers keep coming back.
How do you do it, friendly car dealer ?
We simply have low overhead and high trade-in values. The next line's yours.
Oh.
Ready for something better? Mullen Motors is a no-hassle, no-pressure dealership with financing available. Check out the inventory at MikeMullenMotors.com.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Nebraska fans, Brokers Insurance Agency in Lincoln is a proud donor of Nebraska Athletics. Brokers Insurance Agency is located at 33rd and 8th Streets in the heart of Lincoln. At Brokers, they can help you with all your insurance needs. Let them worry about your insurance so you have more time to enjoy the college football season. Call one of their licensed agents today at 402-420-5353 or visit their website at brokersinsurancene.com. Go Big Red. Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina is the talk of the Haymarket, and for good reason. Grab a breakfast taco on a game day morning or stop by for lunch or dinner for their huge variety of street taco options. They have everything from carne asada or chorizo tacos to shrimp or fish tacos, buffalo chicken, and more. Plus, they have more than 140 different tequilas and tons of other beer or mixed drink options. There's truly something for everyone. Make plans to stop by for any meal of the day at Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina, 8th and Q in the Haymarket.
Back
Let's go 3-0 and let's come drink some Gatorade.
to the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show, sponsored by Ben Bleicher with PRG and BHHS Ambassador Real Estate on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Follow me into the jungle.
We are back. 8th and Q in the Haymarket. Tipsy Tina's, the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. Nick Sainert, the Husker Hall of Famer, Eric Strickland joins me. Stricky, this is not Florida weather, man. Are you regretting moving back here?
There's no regret, but yeah, it is
It's
definitely
cold.
This is not
This
the
is
one to be.
this is all your wardrobe. That's all you told me last night. That's your only winter coat.
It's the only winter coat.
Is there one coming down in the
Yeah,
shoes
really soon.
for investing? All right.
Really soon.
Yeah, I highly recommend that you get that. This segment sponsored by Ben Bleicher of PRG BHHS Ambassador Real Estate. Whether you're looking to buy a home or property or even to sell, call Ben and his team today at 402-419-6309. Nick Sainert, Eric Strickland hanging out with you guys. We'll be here until about 10:10. It's official. Casey Thompson is out today, not suiting up, not warming up for the Huskers. So that means Chubba Purdy and Logan Smothers will be captaining the ship for this Huskers offense. A Huskers offense, and when Chubba Purdy came in last weekend in the second half, he finished the game 3 of 8 passing for 15 yards through the third and fourth quarter last week, as well as 29 total yards as an offense. And I will at halftime, Anthony Grant was averaging 5.1 yards per carry, but yet, unfortunately, they just could not get anything going on offense. Now, they've probably had a couple days to prepare for Chubba Purdy and Logan Smothers, and I would expect and I would hope that they have a better game plan in place and ready to adapt as well, Strick, on whatever Minnesota may throw their way.
Yeah, and listen, I'm gonna be honest. I personally would go a lot more with Smothers.
I would too.
And
he provides a spark, a potential spark.
Yeah.
There's a higher chance that he provides a spark, I should say, than maybe Chubba Purdy, and that's just the running aspect of it.
Yeah, but here's another thing you got to think about, right? Mm-hmm. It takes another hat that you don't have to account for as far as blocking. You have to be able to make sure that one of those other people that's going to be eyeing him have to be available, because then that makes it a lot easier for you to be able to get room for Anthony Grant, to get room in your RPO situations. Yep. To hold those linebackers a little bit longer, to allow tight ends to get behind them a little bit, or some of the dig routes to be able to get behind linebackers. I think you get a better chance with him. I know that Purdy can run, but after that performance on last week,
I
just don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see kind of how they
configure, I should say, their offense. We do know on the offensive line, right guard Brock Bando is back. Now, you can kind of grasp at straws here when you're looking at the offensive line because it's been pretty poor performance the entire season. But they do get a guy who's been there the most this season in Brock Bando at right guard. And when you have a backup quarterback, you hope that provides a little bit of comfort for whoever's under center.
Yeah, we've talked about this, I think, a little bit, Nick. I've kind of mentioned this. One of the things I think that I'm hoping doesn't happen this game is that when you have a play like what happened last week with Chandler Brewington, you have a nice tight end screen that works, and you don't ever see it any form, a wide receiver screen, a running back screen, none of it, right? And you see the same thing in the running game. You had a nice delay to Anthony Grant, a nice kind of a draw delay, whatever you want to call it. Gets room for him because it allows those defensive linemen to get upfield a little bit. You don't have to be man on man, mano on mano. You'll give yourself a little bit more crease to allow Anthony to maneuver. We just don't see that. We don't see trapping. We don't see any pulling. I just would hope to see a little bit more of that stuff.
I agree. Before we continue this conversation, let's pause 10 seconds for station ID. This is 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Once again, Nick Sander, Eric Strickland hanging out with you guys. The A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Tipsy Tina's 8th and Q in the Haymarket. There it is. There's the little beanie as well. Strick's rocking it. This segment sponsored by Ben Bleicher with PRG and BHHS Ambassador Real Estate. All right, let's continue this conversation on that. The configuration of the offense, right? Because and the game plan. Because here we are, Logan Smothers, Chubba Purdy's going to be under center. We don't know which one. I would honestly put my money on that both of them are going to play in some capacity.
Definitely.
Now, it's going to be. I want to put my faith in the coaching staff, more specifically Mark Whipple, or whoever makes the personnel decisions, whether that's Mark Whipple or Mickey Joseph. They have to work together because here's the thing, Strick. I would not like taking a guy out when he's finally gotten into a rhythm. Let's say Logan Smothers orchestrates a drive that goes, scores 6, and you're coming back. I don't necessarily want to see Chubba Purdy right away.
Right.
Don't make a change unless change is necessary. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Roll with it.
There's ways that you can get into a rhythm. If the offense is cooking, I don't really care about what any pregame promises or statements you made about to whoever, whether they were going to play the 2nd, 4th, 6th, 8th series.
Right.
I don't care. If Nebraska's winning a football game or is competitive and looking smooth while doing it, then you better stick with the hot hand, which has been a complaint not only about this season, but also in years past. When we're talking about the running game, when we're talking about any kind of specific game plan for this offense, it's been frustrating when they go away from the hot hand.
Just take that into account, what you said, right? When someone's in the kitchen cooking, if you stop the cooker from cooking before it's time, you get nasty food.
Exactly.
So you've got to allow them to complete whatever it is, the task, whatever it is that they're doing. Allow them to finish the work before you try to get in the kitchen and change up who the chef is. I think that's a great point. I also think that Nebraska has to do something that eliminates Minnesota from their strength, and that's time of possession.
Bingo.
Time of possession for Minnesota is an absolute key. And I talked about it yesterday. I didn't talk about it with you, but I talked about it yesterday. Minnesota is like a bad child, okay? Right? Meaning that they're going to be persistent, consistent in what they do, no matter how much you stop them, no matter how much you get in the way. They're going to be like a bad child. They're hard-headed, and they're not going to stop doing what they do.
Yeah.
No matter what you try to do to them.
And what's crazy, Strick, is that's the same for every Big Ten West team except Nebraska.
Yes.
Like, think about that. That's the same for every Big Ten West team except Nebraska because, and I was telling Rico this last segment, you know what Minnesota is going to want to do. Chew up the clock and use Muhammad Ibrahim. The biggest key for Nebraska's defense in this game, get Minnesota behind schedule.
Yes.
Get them behind schedule. You cannot allow them to get into 2nd and short, 2nd and 3, 2nd and 4, because that doesn't only open up the running game for Muhammad Ibrahim if he gets on a roll, it also opens up the play action game.
Exactly.
And Tanner Morgan's a guy that is willing to just sit back there and just kind of dink and doink little 10, 15-yard throws, dink and dunk, whatever, dink and dunk, dink and doink. It all works the same. But either way, here's the deal. You just cannot allow – you have to put them behind schedule.
Facts.
You have to put them at 2nd and 9,
Yes.
2nd and 11, 2nd and 12,
Yes.
force an incompletion, play stout defense. And I also said this, figure out a way not only to force turnovers, but create a situation into where you can force turnovers.
Right.
Gang tackle, allow multiple heads or helmets to the ball. And what I told Rico last segment, with the cold air, that football is getting a little slicker, and that might just pop out one of these times out of the
One
alarms.
of the things that is one of the things that we do not do, and I've watched this consistently throughout the season.
Hold them up.
We have guys that are held up,
Yeah.
and everybody's in there like
Exactly.
Levy. Get in there and dig something out.
Yeah.
No one does that. And one of the other problems that we're going to have, this team is not defensively as good as Illinois.
Yep, I agree.
They're going to do something similar to what Illinois. They're going to allow one-on-one coverage.
Yeah.
We've got to create separation in the pass game. I don't care what type of pass game.
And you have the athletes to do it.
To be able to create
but so you have the athletes to do that. That's an interesting conversation. You have the athletes to do it. Do you have a quarterback that can deliver?
That's what's going to be.
That's what's going to be interesting to look at here.
we
Once
got to
again,
move the chains.
Yeah, exactly. You got to figure out whether that's running game, and that's the thing is the staff has to figure out a way to score quick and not intentionally slow down just to save clock, right?
Yes,
It's that weird in between situation where it's like you might have some separation with Trey Palmer. You probably will, just because that's the kind of athlete Trey Palmer is. But as a fan, you might be sitting here going, "Dang, our defense is already back out on the field," and we could be sitting here at the end of the game going, "This is another 42-minute time of possession game in favor of Minnesota," but instead, Nebraska's going to put up 37 points. So that's the thing where Minnesota's not going to light up the scoreboard, in my opinion. They're not going to be able to because that's not their offense. But Nebraska's got to figure out a way to score the football. It's not going to take – I told Rico, Nebraska's first win under Scott Frost was against Minnesota in 2018. That was Scott Frost's first win. And in that game, they scored 52 points at home. They won 52-28, if I can remember correctly. That's just off the top of my head. It's not going to take 52 points to win today. It's not. I think if you get to 35, you feel pretty good about it, especially on a chillier day like this where, like I said, the ball might be a little slicker. And maybe, Chris Ottman-Bell's obviously out for Minnesota, who is their main target in the receiving game. There's a formula here for Nebraska to potentially win this game.
Here's what this is gonna test: your mettle. Anytime you're dealing with a cold game, when you have a bruising, like bowling ball type of running back, how much do you want to hit him?
Yeah.
This is why gang tackle, this is why swarming, all of that stuff is important.
Yeah.
Because if you leave him one-on-one, you become a little bit more tentative on cold days.
I agree.
So this is going to test whether or not Nebraska has that heart.
Yeah.
If they have the heart to want to stay in this game and continue to battle, because that's what it's going to be. Who's going to waver? You know how you play chicken? Who's going to move and who's not going to move?
Exactly.
That's what's going to happen.
Well, and now it's about time for that conversation of Nebraska needs to win 3 out of their next 4 games to be bowl eligible. And that starts today. Today's a game that you look at on the schedule as a potential, especially when Michigan and Ann Arbor's facing down the tunnel at you for next weekend. All right, Strick, it's time for score predictions before we get out of here and hand it off to Rico and Bach. How do you think this one's going to unfold and why?
24-21. I think the Huskers win.
Okay.
Why? I think Minnesota in their continuum of ground and pound, they're going to score a couple of touchdowns.
Okay.
I think they'll probably get a turnover today.
Okay. Nebraska
which
okay.
Out of that they'll score.
Okay.
And then I think Nebraska will be able to have big enough plays to get them there, and then they'll also have a turnover, I think, with a field goal that'll win the game.
All right, there you go. So you heard it. Strick says 24-21 Huskers. I think it's going to be similar. I don't expect this to be too exciting of a game. I look at this, and it's going to be kind of a physical, nasty, boring game to watch.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Maybe we'll have a couple of exciting plays, but I don't really necessarily see it coming in bunches necessarily. I see Nebraska falling 28-24. It's like I said, I'm worried. Once again, I said this last week going into the Illinois game, you were able to contain Chase Brown for the first half. And then you started to see Nebraska's defense wear down, start to waver. And that's just part of football. That's just having the identity as an Illinois team or as a Minnesota team. That's having an identity and sticking with it no matter what's going on in the game.
Quick point on that.
Yeah.
One of the things you saw in the adjustments that they made, you saw them hitting the holes early.
Bingo.
And getting stopped.
Yeah.
What I saw from both him and the backup, from Chase and the backup last week, they started running with patience.
Yep.
So they would get behind the line, and they were basically saying they're going to lose integrity.
Yeah.
And then they started finding creases. I think that's what we're. I don't know if Ibrahim's capable of that because he's just a
bruiser. He's just a bruiser. It's going to be interesting to see. I think that we'll see 28, 24, that many points. I would guess not, but that's just where I'm going to go with it because I do think Nebraska will maybe be able to stretch the field a little bit. But unfortunately for Husker fans, I do think Nebraska falls. I hope not. But I'm worried. We have no clue what the quarterback situation is going to look like. We don't know what kind of production you're going to have there. You don't know if Mark Whipple's going to be willing to run the football with Anthony Grant, despite whatever his average per carry is. But you sit here and maybe the home crowd helps out a little bit. Maybe Nebraska is able to help out in the turnover game. They have plus turnovers. We'll see what happens. But let's go. Once again, Strick says 24-21. The Huskers win. I say 28-24. Nebraska, unfortunately, falls to the Golden Gophers. This has been the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. We're not done yet from Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket. 8th and Q. Come on down. This segment was sponsored by Ben Bleicher with PRG BHHS Ambassador Real Estate. Nick Sander, Eric Strickland saying so long and go Big Red. Rico and Bach are up next on the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Vershawn Jackson for Brandt Excavating. Brandt's been in business for 29 years, and they specialize in a variety of things. If you're looking for someone to get the job done in precision demolition, excavating, trucking, mass grading, and site prep, Brandt is the place to call. To set up a quote or learn more, call Brandt Excavating at 402-474-4113 or go to BrandtExcavating.com. They're also hiring, so join the team today. Brandt Excavating, a part of the Bauer brand, who reminds you, go Big Red!
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete.
Bowling, check. Arcade, check. Laser tag, check. Mini golf, check. Sand volleyball, cornhole, bocce, food, drinks, check. The newly renovated Sun Valley Lanes and Games has something fun to offer for guests of all ages.
Win prizes in the arcade or challenge your friends in one of the many attractions.
Plan a night of fun by reserving your spot online at sunvalleylanes.com.
Sun Valley.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Sunday morning. It's quiet, not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum. Get an immediate look back at the game from the people who know it best. It's the Tanner's post-game show and the final word live from Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Hear from former players and national champions like Jay Foreman, Rashawn Jackson, and Aaron Davis and see what they saw in that day's game. It's the Tanner's post-game show and the final word. Live and in person, home or away at Tanner's Bar and Grill, brought to you by Bauer Infrastructure. Only here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Nebraska fans, Brokers Insurance Agency in Lincoln is a proud donor of Nebraska Athletics. Brokers Insurance Agency is located at 33rd and A Streets in the heart of Lincoln. At Brokers, they can help you with all your insurance needs. Let them worry about your insurance so you have more time to enjoy the college football season. Call one of their licensed agents today at 402-420-5353 or visit their website at brokersinsurancene.com. Go Big Red. M Suits Clothiers, your Lincoln choice for men's clothing 5 years running. Everyone should own a suit, at least one. M Suits has the largest selection of suits, sports coats, pants, and dress shoes. Plus, their in-house tailoring will have your suit ready when you need it. For the next business trip or a new job interview, M Suits will have you looking and feeling your best in a new suit. So if you don't own a well-fitting suit, Go see them at M Suits Clothiers, 1 block south of 56th and Pine Lake Road.
If you need to sell equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers' new Lincoln Satellite Yard lets you free up space at your property and get local access to all Ritchie Brothers auctions. Drop your equipment off and sell it online at any Ritchie Brothers auction, Iron Planet, or via Marketplace E. The yard is at 8801 US 6 Lincoln. It's secure and makes for easy in-person buyer inspections and pickup. Take advantage of this yard to sell at Ritchie Brothers Great Plains Regional Auction, September 15th and 16th. For details, visit rbauction.com/Lincoln.
Wow. Did you ever save me money on my car?
Yes, that's why our customers keep coming back.
How do you do it, friendly car dealer ?
We simply have low overhead and high trade-in values. The next line's yours.
Oh.
Ready for something better? Mullen Motors is a no-hassle, no-pressure dealership with financing available. Check out the inventory at MikeMullenMotors.com.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Hey, who caught that ball? That field goal was good, right? Is the scoreboard fuzzy to anyone else?
Dude, you have got to get your eyes checked, man.
If you're noticing that the game is getting a little tougher to follow, it might be time for a checkup at Premier Vision. They have state-of-the-art equipment, a variety of frames, and great lens options. Visit Premier Vision today, just south of Van Dorn at 84th and Firethorn.
Back
1, 2, 3, dominate!
to the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show, brought to you by Ritchie Brothers on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. We are live down here at Tipsy Tina's. Got a good crowd heading toward Memorial Stadium, or maybe getting a few more drinks, getting more prepared for the game. It is one of my favorite games of the year. It is a Big Ten West rivalry, which I don't know how much longer we'll be able to say that, but for right now it is Nebraska, Minnesota fighting for the $5 Bits of Broken Chair Trophy. Yeah! Something I know you, Rico, have grown very fond of, love that especially thing. Yesterday. It kind of creeped me out how close you were to that I thing. love that thing. The $5 Bits of Broken Chair Trophy. Been a thing since 2014. Raises money for pediatric brain cancer team, JAG Team 1-4 from Minnesota. It's a great thing. It's a fantastic trophy. It is currently down at the stadium, I believe. I don't know if they're going to figure out a way to get it inside, maybe find some field passes, get it on the field, give it to the winning team. I doubt it because the universities don't recognize it because they hate fun. But the $5 Bits of Broken Chair Trophy will be won by somebody today. Minnesota has won it for the last 3 years. Maybe Nebraska can break that, although they're going to have to do it without their starting quarterback. Yeah, it's going to be a difficult job ahead for Nebraska today. Casey Thompson, clearly we saw last week the difference between him being in the game and the backup quarterbacks Nebraska has. And so I think you have to kind of change the game plan today. And maybe try to get your playmakers the ball still, but at the same time, I wouldn't be taking chances throwing the ball downfield. I don't think you go in with the same game plan with Casey that you would with Chubba Purdy, who likely going to start. I know he's Mark Whipple's guy.
Looks like we're having some technical difficulties there with the stream. We are going to we'll send it to commercial really fast here, and then we will come back here with more of the Ticket Tailgate pregame show once we get everything figured out over there at Tipsy Tina's. But I'm Carter Longy here at the studio for 97 The Tickets. We'll try and get this figured out really fast and get you guys back on for some more pregame coverage here from Tipsy Tina's.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Another packed fall sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. For November, they have tons of fall seasonals, and you can check out their Oscar Blues, Nebraska Brewing Company, and Broken Bat Brewing Company selections as their beers of the month. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch crowler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage stop at 1801 O Street. M Suits Clothiers, your Lincoln choice for men's clothing 5 years running. Everyone should own a suit, at least one. M Suits has the largest selection of suits, sports coats, pants, and dress shoes. Plus, their in-house tailoring will have your suit ready when you need it. For the next business trip or a new job interview, M Suits will have you looking and feeling your best in a new suit. So if you don't own a well-fitting suit, go see them at M Suits Clothiers, 1 block south of 56th and Pine Lake Road.
If you need to sell equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers' new Lincoln Satellite Yard lets you free up space at your property and get local access to all Ritchie Brothers auctions. Drop your equipment off and sell it online at any Ritchie Brothers auction, Iron Planet, or via Marketplace E. The yard is at 8801 US 6 Lincoln. It's secure and makes for easy in-person buyer inspections and pickup. Take advantage of this yard to sell at Ritchie Brothers' Great Plains Regional Auction, September 15th and 16th. For details, visit rbauction.com/Lincoln.
Nebraska fans, Brokers Insurance Agency in Lincoln is a proud donor of Nebraska Athletics. Brokers Insurance Agency is located at 33rd and A Streets in the heart of Lincoln. At Brokers, they can help you with all your insurance needs. Let them worry about your insurance so you have more time to enjoy the college football season. Call one of their licensed agents today at 402-420-5353 or visit their website at brokersinsurancene.com. Go Big Red.
Back
1, 2, 3, dominate!
to the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show, brought to you by Ritchie Brothers on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back again.
Feels like deja vu down here.
I have no idea what happened. I don't know where I left off. I was on a roll, and I felt really good about it. And now I don't know where I left off. Or
Said the keys to the game, your biggest secret in life, and then we lost connection.
I gave everybody the meaning of life, and nobody heard. I don't know what's going on right now. I have no idea where I left off, but I'll kind of run back through it again. Where Chubb Purdy's going to be starting. Logan Smothers is a backup. Heinrich Harbrick was taking snaps with the third team. The offense more than likely won't change with how hard-headed we've seen. Not hard-headed, stubborn, stuck in his ways. I don't want to sound rude, but I feel like all of that was rude to Mark Whipple.
Well, you hired a predominantly passing offensive coordinator. Yeah. Now you want him to run the ball.
Yeah,
more.
I mean he's gonna call what he's gonna call. Maybe he'll continue to call the same Casey Thompson offense without Casey Thompson. But I think Chubba Purdy can make some of those throws. But I don't really want him to do that out of the gate. I want him to get into a rhythm. I want to establish, get your playmakers out in space, get them running, get them warmed up. Maybe roll Chubba Purdy out of the pocket because we've seen how mightily this offensive line struggles in pass protection from time to time. So you want to get Chubba Purdy out, moving around, get the ball to your playmakers, hand the ball off to Anthony Grant. In my eyes, at least 30 times in this game, especially if he's averaging 5 yards a carry. You load him up with carries, and you see if he can carry you to a victory.
Yeah, I think that's your biggest weapon, along with Trey Palmer. Obviously, he had 1 reception, 1 yard last week.
Can't have
after
that.
almost getting 300 yards the previous game. There's no way you can have that. And I understand there were targets. He was going up against one of the best cornerbacks in the nation. But either way, you've got to get him the ball. I mean, it's that simple. And so, especially without Casey Thompson, you have the less of the luxury that he can spread the ball around, get your playmakers the ball. If you lose today, and each one of those guys have, like you said, a massive amount of touches, then at least you feel like you put your best foot forward.
Yep.
And so I think that's where Nebraska's kind of going today. By the way, pay attention to third downs. Third downs, that is where Minnesota is one of the best categorically in the nation. First and second on third downs, offense and defense nationally. It is because of, obviously, on offense is their approach. I mean, they set up for 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 by running the ball a few times, and then they'll run it again.
Yep.
And more often than not, they've got one of the best offensive lines in the nation. They can push forward and get it. It's not like it's a very good passing team, though. Tanner Morgan is married. I think, AARP is going to send him some stuff here coming soon.
Do you think that took away from his passing ability?
His marriage. Well, I'm just saying he's been here for 7 years. There was 1 year where he could really sling the ball.
He looked like Tom Brady in the first half in one of those games. But
yeah, that was last year, wasn't it?
I think it was. So they're not the biggest passing team. They don't have Chris Hoffman-Bell, who was arguably their best receiver. But what they do have is a 6'8" tight end.
Oh, yeah.
Lining up out there. Great run blocker. Pretty good pass blocker. But when he gets out on a route, he may not burn you down the field, but they're going to throw a jump ball to him, and he's going to win more often than not. So that's a guy that you're going to have to watch out for, especially on those third downs, because like you said, they'll get to a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, a 3rd and short, and when they do that, they could fake the handoff. You're going to bite on it because guess what? They did it on 1st and 2nd down, and they're getting some yards. You're going to bite on that. They're going to toss it over the top and just, gain enough yards for a 1st down so they could run or pass on 3rd. So the key for Nebraska's defense is to keep Minnesota off schedule. Keep them from getting those 3rd and shorts. Get them in a 3rd and long, a 3rd and medium, and force them to make a decision to pass the ball. Because if they can run or pass to get a 1st down, you're in trouble.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And PJ Fleck coming into town, of course, not the most, the favorite opposing coach for Nebraska fans.
Nobody likes him.
Nobody seems to like PJ Fleck. And I'll say this once, and I'll say it quietly. I kind of wish Scott Frost was here for this game because he had quite a rivalry building with PJ Fleck. That's the only time I'll say that because, I think it's pretty well written in stone how the Scott Frost era
would have been interesting.
Frost versus Fleck. And then, Frost going back into Michigan, too, with that 25 years since the 97 title would have been fun too. But you know what, Mickey Joseph, I know we've tried to kind of quiet it down in his game day, so you want to be respectful, but at the same time, these results matter. He'll say it himself. It feels unfair, and he's kind of had an unfair shot at getting this job, but at the same time, he's got a shot, and that's better than not having one, and that's kind of the case that most people are in, obviously. But Mickey Joseph, if he can win today, I think this would be a big step forward, a big milestone for him, whether it's the Nebraska job or any of those other jobs out there.
Yep.
Because this is a game where he is not expected to win. I mean, we love to. I don't think Minnesota's an immovable object or anything, but they are a 14.5-point favorite. I believe you guys were saying as I was driving in. And a lot of it has to do with not having Casey Thompson in. If he can win a game against
which is
weird.
drop
a little, which is weird. But if he can win a game without his starting quarterback, with all the other obstacles Nebraska kind of has going for it against PJ Fleck, who I think is in his 4th, 5th year down there at Minnesota, that's a big feather in his cap. Again, moving forward for the Nebraska job or any other job. The other thing is, this is probably the biggest obstacle. If you go ahead and say that Ann Arbor is, understanding that might not be a victory, the biggest obstacle left in my mind for Nebraska to get to a bowl game. I think they can compete. If you get Casey Thompson back, I think you can compete with Iowa. I think you can compete with Wisconsin at home. Without Casey Thompson against a very solid Minnesota team, this is the biggest obstacle, and I don't see them getting to a bowl game if they don't win today.
You don't think? Well, what are they? They have to win this game if they want to get to a bowl game because
unless they upset Michigan.
If you beat Michigan, but look, with the most respect I can possibly muster, Nebraska is not going to beat Michigan next week. That's whether you have Casey Thompson or not. I do not see that one happening. Anything can happen on any Saturday, but that one's going to be a hard one to overcome, especially in Ann Arbor. But focusing on this one, you're right. This is one of the most important games remaining for this team because if you win this game, you set yourself up pretty nicely to go up against a Wisconsin team that had been struggling early in the season. They're also with an interim head coach, a first-time head coach in Jim Leonard. And then Iowa, look, that offense is inept. They can't do anything. Yeah. The defense is still really good. Almost elite, some people would say. But the offense and the way they play puts their defense in so many precarious situations that they have to be damn near perfect to win any games. So if Nebraska can get this game, can steal this game away from Minnesota, and I'm saying steal because this is a solid Minnesota team, they're setting themselves up very nicely to go on, a little bit of a run to end this season and set themselves up nicely for a postseason berth.
And I think today, too, if they're going to win, it is going to be a rock fight. It's going to be a classic cold weather Big Ten matchup, which we have set up for it. I don't think they're probably in line to, score 35 points and hold Minnesota to 14. They're probably going to have Minnesota below, that 24-21 type of victory if Nebraska can kind of squeak it out. Limit turnovers. That's the big thing. 4 turnovers last week. Casey Thompson, even when he's in, is a little bit turnover prone. He can make up with that on other possessions with deep balls and kind of what he opens up the field for.
Yep.
Last week, Nebraska's offense had 28 yards in the second half with Purdy. We knew there's some excuses there, but at the same time, I don't care what it is, 28 yards in a football game, in a half, is embarrassing.
Not great, Bob.
The other thing to worry about with Minnesota coming in, they're coming on feeling pretty good against a Rutgers offense that I would say might be somewhat comparable to Nebraska's offense minus Casey Thompson. They shut him out.
Rutgers offense isn't now. Rutgers
Rico,
offense
28 yards in the second
I know.
half.
Okay, well that offense, but
That's what I'm saying.
Without Case, okay. I mean, I guess, but that's also a refusal to run with Anthony Grant. That's a quarterback that hadn't practiced all week. That's something where, if you would have switched quarterbacks, maybe you would have gotten something different. If you would have handed the ball off, maybe you would have gotten something different. And I understand ifs, maybes, we don't want to talk about
28 yards.
I understand
something
that.
different means maybe one big play gets you to 40.
I understand that. Nebraska's offense, even without Casey Thompson, is better than Rutgers' offense. I will stand by that till the day I die. This offense, even without Casey Thompson, is better than Rutgers. Minnesota does have a really good defense. They're top 15 in the country. But Nebraska just went up against, and I know, again, without Casey Thompson, you know what? This is hard, man. I don't know what to think.
Listen, Rutgers doesn't have Trey Palmer or Anthony Grant, but
true.
If they're not used correctly, and if it's just tough to get them the ball, the ceiling's not much better.
It's hard to evaluate this Nebraska offense with Chubba Purdy and Logan Smothers because we've seen Logan Smothers in one game last year. Everything's different about the skill position players that he had in that game. Everything's different. Nothing's the same from that one. And then Chubba Purdy, we saw him for a half. He didn't play or he didn't practice at all that week, and we saw him struggle mightily against the number one defense in the country. So this offense, I have no idea what Nebraska is going to trot out there today or what that first play is going to be or what their go-to play is going to be to get a first down. But what I hope I know is that Anthony Grant gets a lot of carries because what we do know is that dude is a beast at running back. And if you feed him, if you get him going, he will be a problem for Minnesota's defense.
Well, I hope so. I mean, and he was kind of getting going there in the first half last week. It's been a while since he's had a 100-yard game, whether it's, the amount of carries or whatever it may be. He's not quite, as hot, the threat that he was early in the season when he was a top 5 rusher in the nation. Now he's dropped out of the top 25. Whether that's a refusal to get him the ball or, kind of giving up on it early, which is more what it is because
12 carries in the last game.
I
think that's a refusal to run the ball.
Well, he got three receptions out of the backfield, which they're going to need to do there, do again here. Like you said, I think a lot of short, intermediate passes rather than relying so much on the long ball is going to be what Nebraska needs to do. But then again, you run into the season-long problem of that offensive line. Just kind of the whole thing, it wasn't Casey Thompson that was the problem with sustaining drives. So if you take Casey Thompson out of it, you still have a problem with sustainable drives, which usually those short, intermediate passes are. But that's what I'm going to say today. Don't be afraid to punt. Don't try to score on every possession.
Yeah.
I know, offensive minds, they want to think that way. You want to get to a point in your program where it is that way, where plug and play, backups are just as good as the starters. You're not there yet. I think you have to adjust it. It is somewhat playing into Minnesota's hands because that's the exact game style they play, their program prepares for, and that they practice to win every week. But I think that gives you a better opportunity than slinging the ball around the yard here. We'll see, though. College football is always full of surprises. Maybe Nebraska does go out there and score 40 points today. I have a hard time seeing it.
Yeah, it's going to be the first team, in my eyes, the first team to 21 is probably going to win this game because it's going to be slow, plodding, methodical drives that are going to win this game. And those short passes are a way to combat the offensive line because despite their struggles, I think you can get the ball out in, a second or two, even if they're allowing constant pressure. Because if you can run those short crossers, those comebacks, those curls, just some wide receiver screens, anything that's a quick hitter, that'll discourage the pass rushers from going so far upfield or so far downfield to get around the offensive tackles and get to the quarterback. It'll slow down the pass rush. That'll then allow you to go deep if you want to. And I know Mark Whipple wants to a Trey Palmer, to anybody streaking down the field. But another important thing, and I know DP says it all the time, don't be afraid to take the check down. Mm-hmm. Don't be afraid to take what the defense gives you. If they're giving you 4 yards, take 4 yards. If they're giving you 2, if they're giving you the running back out of the backfield and he has to make somebody miss an open field to gain 2 yards, take it. Don't take the sack. Don't take negative yardage. Take what the defense gives you, especially in this game. And like you said, don't be afraid to punt. Don't try if it's 3rd and 8. Don't try and sling it down the field to get a massive play just to get the first down and possibly score. Just if you have a check down on 3rd and 8, take the check down. Maybe you break a couple tackles and get it. Maybe you don't. Don't be afraid to punt the ball because you've got a really good punter also.
Yeah, Nebraska's defense, I think, played solid against Illinois. It's always hard to kind of argue that because Illinois kind of did exactly what they wanted to do. It's that same type of thing today with Minnesota. You might think the defense does all right if they hold them to 28 points. But again, that's about what they need to win this game,
Yep.
and that's about what they're probably shooting for. There we go. He's ready for us.
He's ready for the game.
And we do have, a decent crowd here. I'm interested to see what the crowd will be at Memorial Stadium. It's a bit chilly. I've been offered a few tickets throughout the weeks. I think a lot of people have. So I wonder if the stadium's going to be jam-packed full. It is a sellout. We're not going to spend too much time on that, Rico.
Not going to talk about it.
Whenever we do, people get fired up.
Not going to talk about it.
But it will be fun. And again, very important day for Mickey Joseph, for Nebraska, for the program moving forward. If you can get a win against a team that you're not supposed to beat today, a lot of things can kind of move in that direction heading forward. There's rumors this week. Who knows what's going to happen next week?
Nobody knows.
But I'm telling you, and people don't want Mickey Joseph to have to get wins. The people that are in Mickey's camp,
Yeah.
but Mickey said it himself. I mean, maybe he doesn't have to, but it sure will help him.
It would
if he
help
can
a
get
lot.
Yeah.
It would help a lot in his quest to become the head coach of Nebraska if he would get some wins. Although, there are some people who projected this team to win, 4 games this season, who are then expecting Mickey to get to 6 wins if he wants to get the head coaching job. That's a hard ask. If you didn't think the team before was going to be able to get to 6 wins, and then you think that a guy taking over, 4 games into the season and then firing his defensive coordinator is able to get to 6, I mean, I don't know what you're asking for, but that's just a little crazy to me.
Well, it is, and everybody's kind of got their different opinions on what Mickey has to do, on what everything is out there. We'll let it play out. Today is one of those days you just kind of let it play out. You don't have to talk about it too much. Post-game, I'm sure we will,
Yep.
especially if Nebraska gets a win. If Nebraska loses, then then it's going to be a tall task to get to bowl season. But at the same time, even if that's the case, I'd encourage Husker fans, don't give up on this team. Again, like you were saying, there's a lot that can be done. Even if you beat Wisconsin or Iowa, at the end of the year, that hasn't been done in 7-8 years or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be a big get.
And then, Michigan, I know we're all counting it out, but when it's Michigan week, we're not going to count it out, right? Each team's got 11 players on the field at one time. Bigger upsets have happened in college football before. So it's going to be fun. I love college football season. I love Nebraska, Minnesota. I love PJ. I love Mickey Joseph.
Watch it.
And I love the $5 Bits of Broken Chair Trophy.
Yeah!
That will wrap it up with a spot. This segment has been sponsored by Ritchie Brothers. Buy or sell your equipment today at RBAuction.com. We're going to take a break. This has been the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate Pregame Show. More coming up next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.